waiting all my life.
What's going on, guys? rdiaz here. Today we're going to be talking about why I stopped using a gimbal in 2020. So I first started off in a glide cam or a steady cam. It was a great tool, but I remember everyone was upgrading to gimbals, so I thought to myself, why don't I get a gimbal? So I picked up a gimbal. For me, it was an amazing tool. I remember taking it everywhere because I was like, I need my footage to be this stable, smooth everywhere I go. So for me, it was amazing. As time progressed, I saw myself picking it up less and less. And I remember the first few times I didn't want to pick it up was because I didn't want to worry about charging the battery and also having to carry an extra thing in shoots that I was not going to be able to. So I remember having some shoots in Utah where I wanted some footage to look smooth and stable, but I also didn't want to take my huge Ronin M, so that's when I had to pick up a smaller Ronin S gimbal. So for me, it was helpful since it was smaller than the Ronin M, which is a huge dual hand gimbal. But then still, it was a pain having to balance, having to use. And I love gimbals. They're amazing tools. And I remember I thought to myself at one point, I cannot live without a gimbal. I need a gimbal for every single shoot I'm doing, every single thing any kind of video I'm doing, I need to take my gimbal. And for a lot of church production, I was doing a lot of live events. Every single week, I would take the Ronin M, I would balance it, charge all the batteries, and take it to my shoot. Every single week. And if you try taking a big, huge Ronin M every single week, you'll see yourself struggling. So after a few months, my back was breaking, to be honest. It was just extremely hard on my back. And at first I wanted that footage, I'm going to sacrifice everything for that amazing smooth footage. I had these smooth, beautiful shots. A lot of times I wasn't worrying about the composition because I was just worrying about getting a smooth, pan or doing these little effects to make it look amazing. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, all my videos have so much motion in them. Like, they're moving, they're gliding everywhere, they're looking nice, pans to the left, pans to the right, up and down, side, parallax, all these type of cool ways to use your gimbal. But then I realized, like, do I need all this in all my videos? Is this really making me a better videographer? And that's when I had to make the decision, is a gimbal worth it for me? I remember the first time I didn't take a gimbal to a music video, I thought to myself, I'm cheating these guys. Like, they're going to see this video looking horrible. They're going to think it doesn't look good. And to be honest, no one really cared if I took a gimbal or not. So a lot of times we could take a gimbal to try to flex or try to act like, it's a bigger tool or make our camera look more expensive. At the end of the day, do these people really care that we're taking this huge gimbal? These are a few of the reasons I stopped taking a gimbal in 2020. Number one, I don't want to have to take or charge more batteries than I already do. We're all videographers. We all know how many things we're already charging. We're charging our laptops. We're charging our cameras. We're charging all these extra things, monitors, and all these extra tools. We don't want to have to take another thing we have to charge. So for me, having to charge batteries, having to worry about, is this charge and is this going to die on me? That's another thing to fail. So it's another reason that your project could go messed up because you're relying on a motorized gimbal. And for me, it wasn't worth having that extra, worry about if I need to have this charge or not. Another big important thing is the time to set up. When you get to a shoot, you could have balanced it at home, and that's what I would do. But a lot of times you're taking this thing in your car. It's not safe to take the gimbal already balanced with the camera in your car. It's going to move around. It's going to shake up. It's going to lose its balance. And a little micro movement, it's going to take it out of balance. So a lot of times I remember having it balanced at home, and I would take a long time balancing it. By the time I was at the shoot, that thing was all screwed up. So it was just a pain. And don't get me wrong, I was great at balancing. I remember I got to the point I could balance probably a GH5 and a Ronin M in about 5 minutes, 3 minutes tops. Like, I already knew what I needed to do, but it was just that extra hassle of having to have it balanced rather than taking out your camera and just shooting. I had this extra worry having to make sure it was balanced properly. And we all know if you don't balance your gimbal properly, you're going to have some issues later. We're going to have little bumps or extra shakes, which we don't want in our footage. Another reason, it's not compact. Even though we have now the Ronin SC, we have the Ronin S, and I know there's a lot of Moza gimbals that are a bit smaller, they're still not small. They're still an extra weight that you have to carry. Our cameras are not light. We're using these lenses, it adds all this extra weight. No, there's no gimbal that you could really truly say that it's a light, easy setup. I know there's a few iPhone gimbals out there. To me, those are the only gimbals that are portable. Any other gimbal to me is not portable, and it just adds extra weight that I don't want to have to worry about. I don't want to have to worry about taking an extra luggage, an extra thing that I have to worry about breaking on a plane. When you're out traveling, we don't know how they're going to handle your equipment. So I don't want to have to worry about another thing that could potentially break or damage. So for me, taking the extra load in a plane is not worth it for me. Another interesting reason why I'm not going to be using a gimbal in 2020 would be I don't want to mess up my back. I remember using that Ronin M. I would look so cool gliding, running around with this huge gimbal. At the end of the day, my back would be killing me. I legit would feel sore for days, and this is after using the gimbal like for shoots for a bunch of times. I would still get sore. Even now, if I use a gimbal, like that thing is, they're heavy, man. They get heavy. If you put a monitor, you're putting the GH5, you're putting some, big lens on there, you're gonna get sore, you're gonna get tired. I know I don't want to work out, but dang, that thing is heavy. It adds so much extra weight to your camera setup, and a lot of times I would find myself wanting to just rush shoots because I wanted to get in and out. Just because the Ronin M was so heavy for me, it just made me want to get out that shoot. So every time I would finish a shoot, I was just thinking to myself, man, I need to get out of here because this thing is breaking my back, or it was just a complete mess. And a lot of times I just found myself wanting to finish the video rather than staying creative, wanting to continue making more videos. And I know this is not the case for everyone. I know there's some guys out there, if you're part of Buff Nerds, I know you guys are ripped. You don't care carrying a little 20-pound gimbal on your back, you're fine. But for me, I'm not really that healthy, or I don't really work out, so that gimbal is extremely heavy on my back, and yeah, I don't want to have to break something that I don't need to break. So a lot of you are going to ask the question, would you still use the gimbal if it demands for it? So I would still use the gimbal in higher production jobs. So let's say I was needed to do a high-end music video or a higher budget music video. Definitely, I would take it. My back is worth it. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to break my back, but it's worth for these higher end budgets. It's worth for these higher end things that are demanding for it, that you need that specific shot. If you need that smooth gliding shot, you need that smooth parallax shot, get a gimbal, man. Don't limit yourself. If you need it, if your client needs it, go ahead, grab that gimbal, take that gimbal and do it. Just because, I'm against gimbals. I'm not against anything, but I'm just saying, for me, in my experience, a gimbal made things a lot harder than they should be. They added this extra pain for me, this extra hassle that I don't want to have to deal with. And having these extra things that limit you from being creative, they legit just limit you. They limit you from being creative. They limit you from wanting to work harder. They limit you from achieving the things that you want. In conclusion, gimbals are great tools for videographers. If you need that special shot, if you need that smooth, beautiful, buttery looking shot, go for it. Use a gimbal. But if you're a daily videographer that needs to go out, stay creative, and get daily content, a gimbal is not going to be for you. You're going to find yourself not using it. I know you guys, you're thinking, I want to buy a gimbal and I'm going to use it every day. Look, you're going to buy that gimbal and you're going to leave it in a few months, because that was me. I would think every single day I'm going to use that gimbal because it's so expensive and it's so worth it. You're lying to yourself. You're not going to use it, I'm telling you now. Unless the job demands for it. If it's a high-end production job and they're demanding, they want that walking shot where you're following someone, then go for it. I know some people wanted to vlog on the Ronin S because it has the flip thing to record you. That's a bad idea, man. You're going to break your wrist. Once again, guys, my name is rdiaz. These are a few of my thoughts about using gimbals in 2020. If you guys have any questions or would like to know anything, let me know in the comment section below, and let me know, what do you think about using gimbals? Do you guys still love using gimbals? Do you hate using gimbals? Do you prefer Steadicam, glide cams, whatever they're called? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching.